Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And here we have a great article from Fierce Wireless, which I will leave in the description down below so you guys could check it out. So now that I have your guys' attention, so it's going to get very interesting. A few days ago, I made a video, it was titled A Tough Road Ahead for T-Mobile. And I truly believe that. So when I make videos, a lot of times when I discuss stuff, I have a future outlook when I speak. A lot of you saying that T-Mobile's finances are not here right now. They're not like super strong. While that is true, but if you look at their future outlook, their finances are going to get stronger. They just raised prices on their new plans, so that's going to financially enable them to do more. They're going to get stronger financially. Now, a lot of people have issues with that because it was labeled an Un-carrier move, and yet they raised prices. So that those two things don't go together, right? Un-carrier and price increase, that doesn't go into the same sentence. It just doesn't. But they did it, right? So now we take that and then now we move on, right? We have to move on. I can sit here and talk about it in several videos and we can bash it, but we have to move on. Business continues and it's going to be business as usual for T-Mobile. So in this article, T-Mobile tackles the hard part about 5G mid-band build. So here's something very interesting that's unfolding, right? I didn't want to discuss it yet in the video, and I'm surprised T-Mobile did not discuss it, but it looks like on the total retail wireless, T-Mobile now has more total customers than Verizon. Verizon's at 114 million.5. T-Mobile's at 114 million.9. Now, Verizon still has more total connections, but if you look at T-Mobile's guidance, right, they're guiding like at the peak 5.7 million customers this year. That gets them closer to 120 million. So eventually they're going to challenge Verizon on the total connections as well. But on the postpaid retail side, it looks like they have surpassed Verizon in total amounts of customers there. So what's transpiring and where am I going with this? Eventually, T-Mobile is going to become the target. When you're looking at customers where to pull them from competitively, T-Mobile is now going to become a target in the future. They just are. There's only going to be so much that Verizon's board and their shareholders are going to be willing to allow. Same with AT&T. If AT&T gets in a rut and they have quarters where they're down and then revenues start taking a hit, profits start taking a hit, investors and shareholders in the board, they're going to start speaking out. They're going to start talking and they're going to want change. And Verizon is waiting too long to make that change. Now, that could be May 15th. We get something that's groundbreaking, different. Cool. We'll see when that day comes. But for now, T-Mobile is in a very unique position. They're still cheaper. Yes, they raised prices during an Un-carrier event. I get it. But they are still cheaper than the competition across all segments. Military discounts, 55 plus, first responders, you name it, T-Mobile is still cheaper. Consumer, prepaid, whatever the case may be, it looks like T-Mobile is still the cheaper option now in this competitive landscape. As we move on, T-Mobile continues taking share, which per their guidance, they just raised guidance for the year on the share taking. Verizon and AT&T will respond eventually. They're going to. I don't care how this goes. I don't care what Hans does, judges on revenue, this, that. They will competitively respond. Does that potentially have to be a price decrease? Maybe. Right? Maybe it will. Maybe it will be taxes and fees included. Who knows what that looks like, but eventually it will happen because T-Mobile is going to have majority of the customers. They're going to be the leader in market share eventually. It's heading that way. And I don't want to put a time frame on when that'll happen, but it's heading that way. So T-Mobile has to be the one on the lookout. They were the ones hunting throughout this entire decade, and now early on in 5G. Eventually, they will be the ones that will be hunted. They will be. It's just a fact. It's just a matter of time. Eventually, that will become a reality. So in the meantime, T-Mobile moves into the rural areas. They start taking customers. They start taking share there, which they're already telling us. They're taking in 2/3 of rural small towns now. T-Mobile's already competitively taking share. They told us that during the quarterly earnings. And I told you guys this in previous videos. As T-Mobile moved into rural Montana, they now cover 90% of the pops natively. They're taking share like 25 to 1 on port-ins, taking lots of share. So what happens now? If the network is good enough, T-Mobile moves in. They get the fixed wireless access business or the home broadband business from that customer. They get them on wireless. They get them locked into all that value. Now that customer sticks, right? They don't churn. So now, how does Verizon and AT&T get that customer back? They're going to have to offer a better deal. They're going to have to offer a better deal. Whether that's more aggressive phone promo, cheaper pricing, better home internet pricing, whatever that looks like, they're going to have to do it to take that customer back. And that's what T-Mobile is signaling. They are trying to become the best at churn. And why not? They say they have the best network, cheapest price that should equal the best churn. And eventually, if you look at their improvements on the quarterly basis, that will happen. People continuously still talk about T-Mobile's debt. They talk about their financial situation. T-Mobile is fine from that aspect. They can refinance debt right now. I looked into it briefly. They can refinance debt as needed for 10 more years at a 5% interest. That's good. Their finances are continuously improving. Service revenue up. Free cash flow is a major deal. I don't know if you guys realize that is a major deal. Free cash flow allows them to buy a Mint Mobile, raise CapEx, buy a fiber player, whatever. It allows them to do that. It's literally called free cash flow. And this year they're guiding 13 to 14. In 2025, 2026, they'll have close to $20 billion of free cash flow and less debt than the competition. They could go to the debt market today and buy a big player if they wanted it to. They could go get US Cellular. They have the money. They have the assets. They're growing. They're a growing company still after the merger. So that's just the times we are in. You know, just being realistic. T-Mobile's good right now. They're competitive, but you can start seeing the change. And eventually, as they change, like I said, they will become the hunted. Right now, they're doing everything better. I know not everyone has the best experience, but T-Mobile does customer service better. They do marketing better. They do, in my opinion, they do plans better, better value. And right now, they're just doing it better, right? But now the competition, they might try to one up T-Mobile, right? They're gonna have to compete back. You can't just lay back and let the competition take share. And Verizon is feeling that now from all sides and angles. MVNOs, prepaid, MNOs, you name it, Verizon feels the pressure. They're just giving up share, and that's going to stop. You know, I was upset about Verizon in past videos, but now it's getting to the point where it's going to come. Like, you don't even have to speak about it anymore. You don't have to do too much research anymore. It's going to happen. Verizon's going to be forced to compete. If they got to get rid of Hans, they will get rid of Hans. And Hans knows that. So they're going to have to compete differently. They're going to have to be more unique. And they're just going to have to do that. And if AT&T hits a rut, they're going to have to do that as well. They're going to have to compete no matter what it takes, right? Like, you know, leaning out the company, letting employees go, being at the forefront for something, you know, bigger plays on fiber. They're going to have to do it. So make sure you guys stay tuned to the channel for more. Leave all your comments in the comment section down below. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe to the channel. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.